Hello guys and welcome back to Morisama, my channel. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed my videos, and today I'm gonna be showing you the best and worst matchups for each brawler. So for instance, Shelly, the best matchups are all the tanks that don't have that much damage, like El Primo, Frank, Bibi, all those brawlers that when you get close enough you will destroy them. And the worst matchups for Shelly are the ranged brawlers such as Brock, Penny May, yes, B, Bell, all of them that have that control and that damage at really long distances. So you need to be careful with them. Next, we're gonna go with Nita. So the best matchups for her are tanks again, Primo, Rosa, because she can charge her super really fast. And the worst are brawlers that also have longer range than her. Brock, Bell, Ruff, something like that. Next we're going with Colt. The worst matchups for him are the brawlers that have really great mobility, such as Carl, Edgar, Mortis, and Crow, brawlers that have really fast speed. And the biggest counters that he has, the best matchups for him are the brawlers that have really slow mobility and that don't have that push that can help them, such as Frank, 8-bit, and everything like that. Next, we're going with Bull. Again, the biggest counters. The best matchups for him are really squishy brawlers, such as Throwers, Sprout, brawlers that have done that doesn't have that much damage for at the moment, such as Wizard, Byron, Dog, etc. And the biggest counters for him are again brawlers with range, such as Ems, Spike, Crow, everything like that. Next, we're going with Brock. The worst matchups for Brock are brawlers that have all again very good mobility, such as Stu, Mortis, Crow, because you need to hit those projectiles and they are really slow at times. And the best brawlers, the best matchups for him are brawlers that have really slow mobility speed and really short range, such as Jackie, tanks again, but brawlers that don't have that much speed and also that don't that much HP. Next, we're going with El Primo. The best counter, the worst matchups for him are brawlers that have more damage, such as Shelly, as I said, and brawlers that have range and control, such as Ems and Pam, for instance. And the best matchups for him are brawlers that are really squishy and doesn't have that much stuff to run away or to save themselves against this type of brawlers, such as Throwers mainly, and brawlers with range, but that doesn't make that much DPS, such as Bonnie, Jin, and something like that. Next on Byron, Barley. The best matchups for him are brawlers that have really have slow damage, bad DPS and slow speed, such as maybe Jesse, 8-bit, and brawlers that doesn't have that stuff to jump against them or to run against them. And the worst matchups are brawlers that have speed or quickness. Next, we're going with Poco. Every brawler that deals many damage and that you can't. That has lots of HP is the worst, and the best matchups are brawlers with really little HP and really low DPS, such as Sprout and maybe Mr. P. And next with Rosa, the best matchups are brawlers that have slow DPS, sorry, bad DPS and slow speed, like throwers and something like that. And the worst matchups are brawlers that have range or really good DPS against her. Next, we're gonna go with Jessie. So yeah, for Jessie are brawlers that have really short range and really short damage. For instance, brawlers like Meg without her super, Sandy, and for instance, yeah, all the brawlers that have really slow DPS and damage and speed. So yeah, next for the best counters, the best matchups for thrower like Dynamite are brawlers with slow damage and slow DPS that cannot break walls, and the worst matchups are brawlers that have that mobility and versatility against her and against him. Sorry. Next for Tick, also the same with all the throwers. I think it's the same that they may counter to brawlers that have that doesn't have those abilities to break walls or to go against them, like teletransport or something like that. And the best are the worst, sorry, are brawlers that have that really um, quickness and speed against them, or brawlers like assassins. Next, we're gonna go with by 8-bit. The best counters against him are again brawlers like throwers or range brawlers with that can pick them and get him really with the slow of him that can abuse that. And the best brawlers that his best matchups are brawlers that have really much HP but doesn't have that much damage per moment. For instance, Frank or Hank, something like that. Next, with Rico, you need to abuse obviously the bouncing stuff, and the biggest counters against them are tanks that can jump to them, such as um, Daryl and Boss. And the best matchups for him are brawlers that have really slow DPS and slow speed. And for brawlers like Daryl tanks, you need to be charging up your super, but the brawlers that have the best matchups against him are brawlers that have really good DPS and can defend themselves, such as Shelly, Anita when he has her pet, and Tara pets, for instance. And the best stuff he can destroy are squishy brawlers and don't have that much DPS. Next, with Penny, the best matchups for her are brawlers that have again slow speed or slow damage per second for her to charge the super and for you to enjoy yourself better. And the worst matchups are brawlers that can DPS or outrange her. Next, with Carl, the best matchups are brawlers that have slow DPS and that doesn't have stuff to break him out of his super. And the worst matchups are brawlers that that have stuff to stun or range to win him. Next, Jackie. Well, I would say that she's a really bad brawler at the moment. But the best matchups are brawlers, squish brawlers again, and the worst brawlers that have DPS, high DPS. Next with Gus, again, he's a really slow or low DPS, so you need brawlers that have range and that cannot destroy him at the moment. And the worst matchups are Brawlers, so the tanks that can stun or destroy by getting closer. Next, with Bow, the best matchups are Brawlers that can charge his super and doesn't deal that much damage, such as Pam at long situations, and obviously tanks again. And the worst matchups are Brawlers that can run him up and destroy him, such as Stu or Edgar, brawlers that can jump and destroy because he has a good damage, but not that good to destroy them. The best matchups for M's are brawlers tanks, for instance, that doesn't have those abilities to run against her, and some kind of control brawlers. And the worst matchups are brawlers that can run at her and destroy her. Next, with Stu, the worst matchup are brawlers that have stuff to avoid he charging really fast the super, such as Tara Pets and Ruff's Costals. And the best matchups are brawlers that have really slow speed and mobility, and also the DPS. For Piper, the best matchups are brawlers that have that short range that can be destroyed fast, and that doesn't have those abilities to run at her. And the worst matchup are brawlers that can run at her because the slow damage that she has or DPS at close distances. Next, with Pam, the best matchups are brawlers that can charge her super up and don't make that much DPS, such as Frank, for instance, Hank, or brawlers that don't make that much DPS. And the worst matchups are brawlers that can counter her by using walls, such as throwers, or really amazing damage. Next, for Hank, the best matchups are brawlers, squishy brawlers that doesn't make that much DPS at the moment, such as Mr. P and all the throwers. Maybe some control brawlers such as Crow and Squeak. And the worst matchups are obviously the brawlers that destroy that have really high DPS, such as Shelly, Bull, Primo, almost all tanks and many high DPS and range. Next, for Bibi, the worst matchups for her are brawlers that can stun her or avoid her by getting faster away from her, such as Stu and many others. And the best matchups are brawlers that are squishy that can't run away from her. Next, for B, the worst matchups are brawlers again that have pets such as Tara, Mr. P, or Ruffs. And the best matchups for B are tank brawlers that cannot run away from her. For Nani are brawlers with the best matchups are brawlers with slow damage per low damage per second and slow mobility. And the worst matchups are brawlers that can run at her really fast and stun her. So next, with Edgar, the worst matchups for Edgar are brawlers that have really great range, such as B or or for instance, Shelly that can destroy and close up situations. And the best matchups are squishy brawlers, throwers mainly, that he can charge his super and destroy him. And next on Griff, the best counters against him are brawlers that can, like throwers, that can destroy him in against walls. And the the best matchups against him are tanks that can run at him, but that doesn't have those stun effects. Next, with Grom, the best matchups are brawlers that have slow mobility and low DPS, and the worst matchups are brawlers that have the contrary, such as great DPS and great speed. Next, we're gonna go with Bunny, who has a really slow movement. For instance, the best matchups for her are brawlers that can charge the super, such as Tank or Hank or those tanks like Frank or Hank. Yes. And the worst matchups are brawlers that can outrange her or outdamage them. The best matchups for Hank are maybe some squishy brawlers that you maybe can run against by pushing, but it's really hard. And the worst matchups are brawlers that can outdamage, out DPS, or outrange him. Next, with Mortis, the best matchups are throwers or squishy brawlers that can not run away from him or outdamage him. And the worst matchups are brawlers that can win with more damage per second, such as Daryl, Shelly, Bull, and more. And finally, with Tara, the best matchups are brawlers that can charge her super and don't deal that much damage against her. And the worst brawlers are those that can destroy the pets really easy or that can't run at her, such as Penny and Carl, brawlers that pierce through there. So yeah, hopefully you liked. Please make sure to like and subscribe and enjoy more content. Bye guys.